Thank you, everybody, and good evening. I'm happy to be here on this webinar, and I want to welcome everybody who's attending today. My name is Judith Kerich. I'm currently working as a program coordinator for World Bank Finance projects, and I handle projects mainly in transport, that is in rail, road, aviation, and maritime. And I'm happy to have undertaken actually this PGMP course because I want to say that it has made a big contribution to my current role. I guess we'll be discussing more. I will let Andrew introduce himself. Over to you.
Hello
Edward.
all. Hello all. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to throw a good thanks to PMI for allowing us this invite. So for me, my name's Edward Githure Mungai, currently employed by Azenia as a Scrum Master as well as a Agile Specialist, although my background is project and programs. So I got my PgMP in 2000, which I think is like 2 years ago. So, and the drive for me to chase it was mostly based on, I would say, the gap that I saw, especially when it came to projects, and mostly it's about benefit realization. You would find that for us project managers is once we have completed a project, we close shop and we go to something else. So now imagine you are, let's say, a head of section and you acted as a project manager and you delivered something within your department, then who else is supposed to look to ensure that the benefit were realized? So back in, I think, I would say 2000 and you'll guess my age, you'll know I'm quite old. Back in 2013, 2014, that's when this issue came about, benefit realization, where I used to work. Back then, I used to work for a tobacco entity. And that's when I started getting interested in this. So before I knew, I was actually doing programs without me actually understanding that they were programs. So later on in 2019, that's when I decided to sit for PgMP. But life happens, and for some reasons, I was not able to sit for the exam. But I will explain later on when we come to the panel section. Over to you, Abdul.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe you could start by introducing us what you want to ask, what you want to share with us this evening.
No problem. So first of all, let me give you a background. So I am actually being employed in done a couple of roles. I've been actually being employed 18 years. I would say half of it as an employee and half of it as a contractor or a consultant. Mostly it has been running projects program, and now I would say for the last, let's say, couple of years, I've been dealing with agile and agile related projects. So the reason for us having this chat was majority of the people within the PMI group have been contacting me and asking me, how do you go about getting a PGMP? What value does it add? And basically, I know PGMP is one of the most expensive courses within the PMI because it is roughly $800 and you pay even prior to you being approved. So if I was to tell you that the certification itself, maybe in Kenya, might not be valuable because in this market, we are still even not valuing PMP. I believe most of you have been seeing on the dailies or when jobs have been advertised, you find that they will say, we are looking for a project manager with 1 or 2 years experience and must be qualified for a PMP. So you are wondering how can you attain a PMP with a 1 year or 2 years experience. So you find that this market has not grown. But I will tell you that for me, even the certification was not the most valuable aspect, rather than actually studying for the exam, because the knowledge I gained in regards to how I ran my projects, how I supervised the program, was invaluable. And I was able to look back at the mistakes that I was doing previously and to understand why I would be successful in delivering some of the projects within the program, but the program would fail. So now, after the journey of actually studying it and actually also being involved in a good, I would say, community that actually deals with certification, actually really improves your mind in regards to how you run the projects and programs. It has actually even helped me in 2000 as well as 2001, when I was actually leading several projects and I was able to actually deliver them successfully. So that is one when terms about the ROI. So if you are a project manager, you don't have to actually be interested in sitting for the PGMP, but actually getting the content of PGMP, getting the book, getting to the community groups. You can even reach out to me and I will guide you in regards to that. You will start now seeing projects and programs in a different eye. I had one colleague, a former colleague that is based in Ghana, who asked me about all this, and I gave him my material as well as the books to read. And he came back and told me that he actually discovered that he has been doing programs for a while, but he did not know they were programs because in their organization they're just called projects. So the journey towards attaining PGMP actually broadens up your mind. And I normally tell people it's not only about the destination, about gaining the PGMP or even gaining the PMP. Rather, it's actually the journey for you to get there, what you interact with, how you study. And you find that for anybody who has been a project manager for a couple of years, but has not gone through the PMI process of attaining the PMP, you find even the way they run their projects is not per se what you call an effective way of running. So I will tell everybody in this group that you might not maybe have reached the prerequisite hours in regards for you to attain the PGMP, but I think it's good to understand what it entails, get the material, then when you are running your projects, you will find that you will be able to run them better when you put the program aspect in mind. And I will tell you the biggest difference to me, this is not based on what PMI says, but the difference between a program as well as a project, in my view, has been benefit realization. Because you find if, let's say, you're doing an infrastructure project, once you complete the project, you hand it over to operations, you usually don't bother whether the business case was attained. You just jump into another project and start running it. But when you bring the program mindset when running your projects, you will always ensure that you are always reviewing the KPIs and other metrics within the project to ensure that even once handed over, the benefit realization will be attained. So I would say that is the biggest aspect when it comes to this. So the learnings that I would let everybody know when they are thinking about program management is, first of all, forget about the certification. That I want to attain the certification. You can actually attain the certification and it just being a piece of paper. I remember there was one time one of the CS in Kenya who was telling people who were evicted that a title deed is a piece of paper unless there is tangible proof that it points to genuine land. So it's the same. If the knowledge you gained, you are not practicing it, it is useless. So I would urge any project manager or any program manager to actually start, even download the book. The book is actually free if you're a PMI member. Now start looking at it. And even when you are raising I would say project charter, or even if you are involved in actually building the business case and you start bringing in the program mindset, I will tell you actually change even the way the organization views the way they actually develop the projects and the programs. So I don't want to hog the mic. Over to you, Judith. Oh, before you go to Judith, can I ask, maybe people will forget the questions. Is there anybody with a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Good evening, first of all.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name my name is Mr. Isaac Mudambo.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you to explain to me first of all the meaning of PgMP because I don't understand it in full.
Okay. So it actually stands for Program Management Professional, similar with the way we have PMP, but so
Yeah.
as to differentiate between program, they just added the G to make it PGMP rather than PMP, because PMP has already been taken by a project management professional.
Sorry, Edward, I think I got disconnected just right when you asked me to speak.
Okay, no problem. I was just answering a question to Mr. Isaac.
Okay. So thank you very much, Edward, for your highlight. Maybe just to add on what Edward has said is that actually sorry, is there somebody who's not muted?
I have muted.
Okay. Thank you. So what I would like to add over and above what Edward has mentioned is that PGMP actually gives you a global view of the project environment, and that is you're able to look at other issues that would actually affect your project. I know at the PMP level, you're just you follow through the process without really taking care of issues like stakeholder management or how your project is aligning to the strategy. You don't pay too much attention to that, but PGMP actually focuses you to that, and it is one of the key things that I actually appreciate about PGMP. Another aspect is sustainability. PGMP actually promotes sustainability because, as Edward said, you have to look at whether your benefits have been realized both during implementation and post-implementation, post-delivery of the project. So you have to keep on measuring that to ensure that whatever you're doing is actually delivering the intended outcomes or the intended objectives of the project. And that is key in all our projects, even as a project manager at, implementing a single project. I think it is important that you ensure that your project has delivered the benefits as designed. So that is really more about what PGMP is. And I think, Edward, then we could move to maybe now discussing either the roadmap towards PGMP and probably I think you've mentioned that the certification may not be beneficial here in Kenya. It may not be recognized as much, but yes. But I think at a personal level and your my own career, for instance, I really appreciate what PGMP has done. I manage several projects which form a program because my current portfolio is about $1 million, which is quite big. And you have to be able to understand all the different aspects that bring the project together and, be able to deliver it successfully. And one of the key things is for especially for large projects is stakeholder management, where PGMP really lays a lot of emphasis. When a project is quite large, there are very many stakeholders who come on board, and they could actually, bring the project to a standstill, because if you do not listen to them, if you do not address all the stakeholders, if you do not map them and you're able to tell which stakeholders you need to take care of, which interests, who are the power brokers within the area in the project. And you must make sure that you keep an eye on all of them so that you're able to implement successfully and smoothly. Otherwise, if you don't pay attention to them, then you'll have a hard time, and it could lead to a lot of challenges while implementing the project. I think that's all for now. Over to you, Edward.
Okay, thank you. So also let me tell you also how PgMP actually assisted me. In 2018, I actually got a very good project as a consultant, and the project was budgeted at 1.2 million pounds. And I will tell you for a fact, if I had not started studying for PGMP, I don't think I would have landed that project in style, because I will tell you that the stakeholders were many. We had stakeholders from several countries. You're talking about UK, Brazil, Pakistan, South Africa. Among also, we had government entities that were keen in regards to what we were doing. Also, we had teams diverse from all the way Brazil, Chile, Venezuela, all around the world. So I would tell you for a fact that if I had not started studying for PGMP, I would not have been able to learn that project. And I will tell you, when I was told that I will be the project manager for that project, I was hesitant because I was like, this project is quite big. And when you hear the budget and you are told you are actually the one who will be responsible for managing the budget, and you will be actually working with finance to ensure that all the money is actually put in the right docket. So if it is CAPEX, if it is OPEX, all that you were actually responsible. So it was when I actually now started studying for the PGMP that I started to look at, all this is possible because governance says you actually do this. Benefit realization actually says you do this. Stakeholder mapping actually says you do this. So, and you now start looking at the bigger picture, and you now start forgetting about the integrities. If it's about infrastructure, you know there is a PM who's going to handle the infrastructure aspect. If it's about the software integration, you know there is a PM or a team leader who's going to handle that. And now that actually now brings another aspect whereby if you are a program manager, there are some things you don't really get, let's say like risk management. You have actually to own it, unless it is something like whereby you maybe have financial risk or human risk, whereby you allow the expert to actually deal with that. But you, one way or another, you actually have to be responsible for it, especially when it comes to reporting. So now I will tell you about the journey on how to get the PGMP if you are interested. So basically, they will tell you that you actually just need secondary education, that is prerequisite. Also, they have actually posted it on the chat if you are able to actually read about it. 48 months of project management experience, or you have a PMP, as well as 84 months of program management experience within the last 15 years. If you have a degree, they just require a 4-year degree, and you notice that the experience is less if you have a degree. So it jumps from 84 months of program management to 48 months. I know a couple of people in this the PMI forum or community have contacted me, and I've assisted them to actually show them how to actually fill the actual Excel sheet to be able to actually be able to apply for the PGMP certification. And I will tell you, it is quite rigorous, because I remember when I applied, they actually returned the form and they told me that a couple of my projects seem not to follow their prescription of what program is all about, because the essence of a program is projects should either be related to one another or they have a certain flow. They should not be, let's say, you cannot claim two projects that are running consecutively and say if each ran for 4 months and you say that those are 8 months, those are actually 4 months. And they're quite receptive. So it actually goes through a panel. The panel will review it, and if they have any questions, they will return it back to you and you clarify. So for me, I filled it up, applied, I got a response the next day to told me to correct one thing. I corrected, then within an hour it came back. And some actually go to the process whereby they actually even call I would say, your former supervisors or for your former bosses who you have put on the report for actually to get clarification of that. Similar to what happens within the PMP. For when I applied for my PMP, I actually got audited and they actually got in touch with the referees that I have filled. So it follows the same process. So now it comes to the exam. I will tell you for a fact, there is no harder exam than PMP. If you have passed PMP, don't be scared about PGMP. It's just that you need to understand the mindset and you remove the mindset of running projects. Now you bring in the mindset of running programs. Over to you, Judith.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think I will also focus on the fact that PGMP has a standard. It's called the Program Management Standard, which anybody who's interested in undertaking PGMP has to read it. You have to understand it, and you must actually have it at the tips of your hand. You must know the standard in and out for you to be able to sit for the exam. The exam, as Edward said, is very challenging, and the way the exam has 170 questions which you answer over 4 hours. One question in the exam is about half a page because there's always a story behind it. Most of them are like mini case studies. So the fatigue alone of reading the 170 questions can wear somebody out. So it is one of those exams where you have to really prepare for and, make sure that you're ready to sit for it. You have read well and you have you're ready for it because it takes a toll on somebody doing 170 long questions. It's quite something reading through the questions. So yeah, it's quite a journey, but I think once you go through it, you'll be happy that you have actually attained this certification. Over to you, Edward.
Okay. To add to that, you will actually see a lot of forums in the internet telling you that you need to buy this book, you need to buy this other book. But I will tell you that book is all you need. You might ignore it because if you compare it with the PMBOK, I think PMBOK is like 1,000 pages or so. And these standards for program management, I think it's 180 or 210 pages only. So you might brush it and say, actually this one then it means that I don't need this one. But I will tell you for a fact, you need to have read that book because even when you take sample questions, and there are many from the internet, you will actually see that they will tell you page 60 something. And then when you go to that page, you actually see, it is as simple as this. So you find that when you start now understanding the view when it comes to how a program is run, and I will tell you, if you are going to sit for the PGMP, forget about programs unless you are thinking about aspects like calculating standard maybe deviations or things like that. But if you are actually coming to sit for program management, try to forget majority of what you have been thinking about how you should be running your programs. because how PgMP defines how to run programs might not be the same way your organization defines them on how to run the programs. But I will tell you the knowledge you just get from that book. It's, I think, 210 pages, if I'm not wrong. It's so immense.
179.
Yes, 179. Imagine 179 pages. And you might ignore it, but I will tell you that it actually opened my eyes. And like 2018 until 2021, where I was running a couple of programs. Actually, the program that I told you that I did in 2018, 2019, actually even won the CIO award for manufacturers sector because we landed it very efficiently. So I will tell you that the knowledge you just gained from that is immense within your career. Even when you explain a project, explain a program within a room, somebody will try to wonder, where did you understand how to do it this way? It's all from that 170 something pages. So just get the book, start reading it, gain the knowledge. Even if you are running projects, see whether you can actually be able to change them into programs, especially if you are not a consultant, if you are an in-house program or project manager, whereby you find that whatever you deliver, actually you still consume it. So that means one way or another, you're also responsible for the realization of what has been delivered. So I would say the first step for anyone in this forum is actually just download the book. If you are part of the PMI, I would say network. If not, just register, be a member. So Abdul, you can see I'm actually doing some of your work in regards to driving for people to join the PMI and join a community whereby people are able to share.
That's good of you.
Yes. And also, somebody like me, I am always available. And if I'm not available, I will let you know. But you can always bounce questions towards my direction and I will guide you. I remember when Judith was also thinking about this, she contacted me, and I hope the information I gave her actually assisted her in gaining this accreditation. Over to you, Judith.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Edward, I confirm that the information you gave me was very helpful. And I would also like to say that for anybody who's willing or who desires to go for PGMP, I'm also available to help or mentor, so that at least we can have many of us having this certification. I think so far in Kenya, we are only 2 or 3 thereabout. I don't know. Edward, are we 2 or 3 people?
Three. We are
Three.
currently
Yeah.
three. Yeah.
Yeah, currently three PGMPs in the country. And I think it would be good that at least we have more PGMPs. The way the world is going, it's getting projectized, and many aspects of running strategy is actually through a project approach. Many organizations are using that because they've realized that anything that you do not manage as a project does not get done efficiently. So it is important that at least we have more people joining, getting the PGMP, because apart from that, it's also, I think, a prestigious accreditation to get. I don't know whether, Edward, now we can take some questions or we still,
Yes.
yeah.
I think we can take some questions.
Before that, did you discuss the criteria on how to qualify to sit for the certification?
Yes, we did, and we actually even posted it on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now on these 48 hours, 40 is it 48 what? Do you need is that practical? The practical aspect of you working on a project, apart from the degree, that is still on the qualification? Do you need to be actively involved in a project for you to be allowed to sit for the PgMP?
Okay. I will tell you that they are asking for a program manager. Okay, are you looking for because there are two experiences required? There is 48 months of project management experience or you being a PMP. Then there is the 48 months program management experience. So the bottom one, which is the 48 months program management experience, that is a must. Now, the other one, the 48 months, you find they will still allow if you are a program manager, but also at the same time running the program. So there are some projects whereby you were still the project manager within the program. They will still allow. But if you already have a PMP, you already qualify the first aspect of actually you having 48 months of project management experience. So I would say the best bet not to jump from, I would say jumping from maybe a degree going straight to program management. I would say just do PMP or you do the CA, it's called the CAMP or the CAPM. The certified associate, is it certified associate project manager or certified associate management practitioner? I think something like that. So yeah. You find that people without formal PMI experience or education at the project management level will usually fail when it comes to sitting for the PgMP exam. So, but if you already have a PMP, you are in a very good space. Because there are some things that will never change, like cost management, time management, all those, as well as human resource management, procurement management. Those ones vary very little when it comes to between project management and program management. You only find the variation happens in certain aspects like stakeholder management, benefit realization, as well as the governance structure. Governance structure within projects and governance structure within programs is quite different. But the rest are usually the same. The risk management, very slight difference. So you find somebody with a PMP or recently started for a PMP or recently studied for a PMP, then started to study for the program management will be able to note the difference. So here it is done differently than here. So when they go to sit for the exam, it's easy for them to pass. But for somebody without the experience, might not know the difference between a project and a program. So when the questions come, likely they might maybe select what they entail in regards to what a project is rather than what a program is.
Thank you. Thank you. So perhaps maybe, I don't know, for new members who want to join the PMI.
I have a question. Or have I interrupted you? Can I proceed?
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was recently certified for PMP last month, actually. And I looked at program management because I think at the beginning of the year, I'd seen a job from CAPM or something. They wanted a program manager. And they wanted someone who is program management certified. So probably two of you are the only ones who applied. So I looked at it and I discovered there's some aspects on having extensive experience for almost 5 years or 6 years in managing programs, not projects. Mm-hmm. So probably can clarify. I know you mentioned about the qualifications, but probably you can clarify. Is that what you had achieved, or you can just clarify that?
Okay, so let me allow Judith to answer that.
Thank you, Edward. So I don't know if I got your question right, but are you asking that we clarify the difference between project and program? Maybe you
No,
can just...
I'm saying on the qualifications.
Oh, qualifications.
Before you applied for program.
Yes.
Program not program.
PgMP.
Yes.
Yes.
Before you applied, had you
Yes.
attained the 48 months?
Yes.
Yes, that's a
Programs,
must.
not projects.
Yes, I
That's
had
a must.
attained. Yes, I had attained the 48 months. I will tell you that earlier on I had attempted to apply and I could not meet the 48 months because some of my projects are overlapping and they also do not allow you to include anything beyond 15 years. So I could not meet the criteria until 2020. That is when I had achieved the 48 months. But also maybe just to tell you is that PMI has actually made the application much, much easier than it was before. Previously, around 2018, 2019, the application process was much, much more rigorous. But now they have at least removed some aspects of the way they initially they expected you to fill the form and you are supposed to demonstrate who your supervisor was, and your supervisor was supposed to sign off. Now that sign off is not required. You only include their names and contacts, and then they can do it themselves. So it is a much easier process right now. And yes, you must attain the required time for you to actually apply. And let me add that actually what I realized is if before gaining the experience, it might be very hard for you to pass the exam because there are certain aspects of program management that you can only almost get it through experience. You cannot, if you read the standard and you don't have the experience, when they bring the questions which are normally case study based, you may not be able to understand and appreciate where the basis of the question. So the experience is very important and very critical. Thank you.
Okay, to add to that, the experience is a must. But remember, sometimes people might be shy off to apply because maybe their role in the office does not read program manager. So PMI is not a stickler to what your role actually is. They are a stickler to what your role was, not what your role title is. You can become the CIO, but you're actually acting as the program manager running the program. So the titles do not matter. Rather, it's what were your responsibilities and where the responsibilities bestowed to you actually meet the criteria of what a program manager is all about. So I'll tell you, for me, I also wanted to apply for it in 2017, but like what Judith said, that the process was just crazy back then. So for me, because there were some couple of years, I worked for an international NGO trying to locate where all those bosses were and to see how I would get them to sign was actually very tedious. So when they changed the format, it was easy because all I had to do is put their details. Then if PMI wants to follow up with them, they'll actually be able to contact them directly.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Thank you for the
Okay.
clarification. Thank you.
Is there any other question or any other clarification that you'd like us to share?
Yeah, maybe I can ask a question. This is Brenda. Was it when you were studying, was it a self-study or did you join any organization or a study group? How did you go about your studies, in short? Thank you.
Okay, I'll share my experience, then maybe Edward can share his. Actually, I bought the standard, which I used to read for the exam, but I also bought a lot of what we call, I don't know how to call them, but it's like a class from Udemy. So there are classes sold on Udemy which are very helpful in terms of preparation, because the lecturers there are able to elaborate and explain all the aspects around program management, which you may not be able to get just by reading the standard on your own. So a couple of those Udemy class presentations were very helpful for me. Over to you, Edward.
Okay, for me, I actually paid for an online class. Although I will tell you for a fact that the online class did not do it for me that much as compared to actually the videos I got from Udemy as well as other sources in regards to this. But I will tell you that there is actually a Telegram group that it's called, I think, PgMP for you, whereby people post questions and people are able to discuss different case scenarios. So that's really what helped me. But I will tell you, for me, maybe the class wasn't the best idea for me personally. I will tell you that, but maybe it might work for you. But I will tell you that actually attending being part of the Telegram group where people are sharing questions really helped me a lot, because you find that there are several PGMP globally, and when the question is answered wrongly, they'll actually tell you the rationale to why that the correct answer is A rather than why the correct answer is B. I don't know whether the forum still continues, but I will check and maybe share with you.
Thank you so much.
But always remember that maybe class works different for other people. There are some people who will prefer to attend an online class. Then there are some people like me who prefer an on-demand class that I am able to actually view the videos when I want to, and maybe pause and maybe check on a book. So there are people who prefer a live session where they may be asking the questions, or there are people who prefer the on-demand like the Udemy. So it actually depends on the person. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Edward. Thank you so much, Judith. Do you have more questions? Abdul?
Well,
Yes.
take this program. Is there a training that one should go through before he or she sits for an examination, or is up to an individual to read for himself? That is my question.
Okay, so unlike PMP, whereby you are required to have attended maybe 35 hours of a class, PGMP doesn't have that restriction. All you need to do is be able to demonstrate the experience for 48 months if you don't have a PMP, and 48 months for running programs. Only that, but there is no formal education required.
And I want to add, if you want to take PGMP, is it a must that one of the criteria that they will look at you have to be taken PMP certification, or is not a mandatory?
It is not. As you can see from what I've posted on the chat, they are asking whether you have 48 months experience as a project manager. or you have a PMP.
Oh, then 48 months experience. That experience see that they talk about, is it an experience for class or for also practical?
Practical work, being employed or being self-employed, running projects.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
For this PgMP, do they also do an audit once you do an application?
Yes, they actually review your application. As you can see from what I've posted, your application is actually reviewed by a panel of experts. They actually look whether you have actually been able to attain the prerequisite for you to sit for the exam.
Good evening. My name is Colin Sayodo. I wanted to know, once you've attained the certification, after how long does it take to renew? Is it like PMP where it takes 3 years? And maybe you can share with your experiences how you work around to attain PDUs. Thank you.
Judith, I have hogged the mic for long.
Thank you, Edward. I think it is 3 years as well, right, Edward?
Yes, it's actually
Yeah.
3 years, and
Yes.
the same PDUs you use for PMP are actually shared.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I think you asked a question in regards to how to get the PDUs. So similar to PMP, attending such a forum like today, you will earn 1 PDU for attending this, and they automatically will go to your PMP as well as to your PgMP. Also attending online webinars. I think projectmanagement.com is always a good site. And for me, I actually spent a lot of time there, actually trying to learn what is happening in the world, why things are changing, and so on and so on. So you will not, unless you are not maybe, say, I would say, engage or intentional in regards to your study as well as in regards to what you do as a professional, you will not be able to attain. But if you are intentional, if you work in an office whereby you maybe run a project like maybe 3 hours or 4 hours a day, so those are PDUs for you to fill. So you attend maybe a class from Udemy, maybe it's a 3-hour course, same thing. But I always tell people projectmanagement.com. It's free if you're a PMI member, if I'm not wrong, and you earn plenty of PDUs there, and the PDUs are well classified. If you are looking for strategic PDUs, technical, they are there. So based on when you look at your dashboard and see what you are lacking, it's easy for you to get a video that not only adds to your PDUs, but also increases your knowledge.
And you have free videos there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I always see paid ones, man.
Does giving back to the profession also qualify for PDUs?
Yes, it does. Voluntary work, like what you actually do within the PMI chapter, does. Even for me, if I participate in maybe mentoring, I normally log those hours.
Okay.
Another question?
Now, maybe my question for the aspiring PMI members. I know today we are talking about PgMP. What are the signals that we should look at for those of us who want to join, the do and don'ts, so that maybe we might be encouraged, because some of us, maybe today we came in and we are in project. Most of us, sometimes we work in projects, probably not at the leadership, kind of directly involved in the leadership of managing projects, but somehow we are involved, or maybe we are changing careers to project management. So what advice could you give to us, maybe diverting from the PgMP program to those of us who want to register now, maybe sit for the certification of the PMI, maybe move ahead to where you guys are? That's my question.
Judith? Or have I thrown you under the bus?
Edward, proceed.
Okay. Okay. To answer your question, I think, are you asking about the benefits of actually being a project manager and chasing it as a career? If I want to phrase the question right.
Yeah, probably generally you can address it as that.
Okay. So it's only, I think, in the last 10 years or so that project management has started being seen as a career in Kenya, in the US, South Africa, Egypt, Americas. So you find there it was as a career by itself. But here in Kenya, it's just recently that we are starting to see the title of project manager, but mostly you find is a subject matter expert that is normally required to become the project manager. So you find that if it's in construction, they will say, we want a project manager with X number of years in project management, and they must be a civil engineer by profession, maybe roads and bridges, water and sanitation, things like that. If you find maybe it's in IT, you find they'll say we are looking for a technical project manager, maybe to do with infrastructure or networking. If it's maybe ERP rollout, you will see the specification. So I will tell you, project manager management certification or expertise adds that extra oomph that allows you to get maybe that job that you want. Also, the skill set that you learn are actually beneficial in the work that you do, especially if you work in areas whereby they deliver projects. So if you don't mind me asking, what career are you in, or what sector?
I'm in electrical engineering. So that's the sector that I'm in, but not,
So,
yes, but on a diploma level. I've also done a degree in project management.
Okay, so I will tell you, don't throw away maybe your diploma because you are studying project management. You will find that it is easier for you to get a job within the electrical or engineering field with both of those, as compared to maybe you trying to apply a job in IT as a project manager with maybe a degree in electrical engineering. You'll find that even maybe the CIO, who's your hiring manager, will say, okay, this person has this X number of years in project management, but might not understand the lingo of what is required here. In other markets, maybe like Europe or America or Asia, you might find you can actually be hired as a project manager without actually being the subject matter expert, because they believe you should have the subject matter expert under you to sort out anything that is technical, but for you is to actually deal with the facets in regards to project management to ensure that these teams deliver. So register to become a member of PMI. There are also some benefits like sitting for the exam. I can give you, for example, PgMP. If you're not a member, you will pay $1,000. If you are a member, you just pay $800. So you save like 20K Kenya shillings. That is $200. And also these books like PMBOK, as well as the standards for program management, you get them for free if you're a member, and also other resources that are available. You'll get them for free. So I will tell you, even when I was running my projects, I used to refer so much to the PMBOK guide, going here and looking at, okay, this is where I need this information. Where can I get these templates? Even the templates for project charter, I used to get them from resources, and I come and I dazzle management with this one when I took it and add the logo of the organization I'm working on. So I would say for a fact, don't abandon electrical engineering because you are thinking about being a project manager as a profession. I will tell you for a fact, I think it's only the last 5 or 4 years or so that my role has been previously on the contract actually stating project manager. But prior to that, technology services manager, business risk manager, uh, business process automation consultant, all that. But you find within those roles, there are projects or programs that you are running. And you find that even for me to get the jobs that I'm getting, it's not only because I am certified in this, but because I am also a subject matter expert in what is being delivered. So you find that it is easy for you, Mr. Dennis, if you are applying for a job in KTRAC or KenGen or even KPLC, that if they are asking for a project manager, you'll find that they will require those SME skills. And I'll just give you a good homework is that anytime you see a project manager role being advertised, especially in the region, that is Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Southern Sudan, go in details and you will see there is components of the actually subject matter expertise required as well as the project management expertise. That's it for me.
I think Pauline has her hand up. Pauline?
Thank you. Thank you, Judy and Edward, for quite an insightful session. I think we've learned quite a lot, and I just didn't realize how many resources we have available that we've never thought of. I just downloaded the standards of program management. Going through it's a lot to learn. Now I have a question regarding the PDUs. You mentioned that this can be used as we can use this session to get, you said 1 PDU. How do we go about that? I'm just newly certified. I've never done this before as PMP.
Okay, for PDUs, whoever attends tonight's webinar automatically will be claimed for him. It will be awarded to him automatically.
Okay, thank you.
And also, Pauline, just go to projectmanagement.com and it allows you to log in via your credentials for the PMI. So once you log in there and once you complete a video, automatically it logs those PDUs to your PMI dashboard. So you don't have actually to do anything. Just ensure you log in because it allows single sign-on. So just ensure that you have logged in with the same credentials you log in with your PMI, I would say, website.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Judith and Edward, for the wonderful insights. Maybe my question will be, I joined the meeting a bit late. Maybe it has been answered or not. But my question will be if someone who's never thought of project management, maybe as a career, what advice or what path would you advise them to take, maybe to begin with? From where should they begin up to the point that they can now be able to be a project manager? Maybe they have invested more in other fields instead of project management, but they want to do project management as a career path. What maybe would you advise to start? Maybe from which certification up to where? That is it.
Judith, take that one.
Thank you. I think it will all depend, first of all, on what you're currently doing. Are you currently managing projects as we speak or not yet?
I'm not yet managing projects, but there are some roles in some projects that I'm assigned maybe to do, but I'm not the one overseeing maybe the whole project.
Okay, so first of all, I think just to briefly answer your question is this is a question that requires that you have maybe a one-on-one session with a mentor, or you can pick somebody from the team so that we are able to comprehensively understand where you're coming from and where you want to go. But in brief, as you asked, is where does one start from? I would say that as you start as a beginner, you may go for CAPM, that is Certified Associate of Project Management. As you build your experience in project management before you do your PMPs and maybe now up to PGMP and others. So that would be my take on based on your question. Thank you.
And maybe be on the lookout. Next month we'll be having a session on CAPM. We'll have a session next month. Just be on the lookout to
Right.
register once the communications goes out.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So also to add to what David you were asking is that sometimes people only believe that project management experience comes from actual gainful employment. I will tell you for a fact that I know a lady who got certified PMP, certificate in her PMP, not only because of the experience from her workplace, but also some projects that she was running as the de facto project manager for an apartment that her mother was building, and she was actually the one supervising and overseeing the delivery. And she put that experience and she was audited and it got endorsed. So when you start, actually just get the PMBOK book and you will actually be shown what these projects are. I know most people might not think about other aspects like CAPM because they want to just jump directly to PMP. But CAPM actually enables you to even be ready for the PMP exam. You don't even have to start for the PMP, but if you believe you don't have the experience, start with CAPM. And also get a mentor, somebody who you will be able to sit with them and they will tell you for a fact, sit for this, you are qualified for this. So just get somebody to guide you through that journey. Makes it very easy. I will tell you for a fact, like for me, I really struggled during my PMP study because I never had a mentor to take me through that. The only mentor I had was mostly pushing me towards Prince 2 because that is what they had, but also that knowledge enabled me to deliver because remember, a project is a project, but you find that the way PMI prescribes how their project should be run and how Axelos prescribes are totally different. So you might be able to do projects within a certain methodology and think you are ready for the PMP exam, but totally different. And when you are in the Kenyan chapter, they actually do these drives and they actually get you the right resource to assist you to actually gain the accreditation you require. Over to you.
Any more questions?
From me, that was it. Thank you.
Edward and Judith, maybe you could give us your last thought before we close the webinar.
Ladies first.
Thank you.
Maybe before, okay, sorry. Maybe before
Yes.
Judy come in, From the chat, I can see Oliver appreciating, saying mine is just to appreciate. To Judith and Edward, I am a practicing project manager and I'm keenly following through the learnings. Thank you for the insights. Looking forward to attending PgMP to the near future. Wow, thank you, Oliver. You can proceed, Judith. I can see you had already responded.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, everybody. I want to thank PMP management and specifically Abdul for giving us this forum to present to you today. I think we really appreciate, and I think it is really good that we are able to share this forum and to share our experiences. And our emails, I think, are available for those who would want to further to ask us further questions or maybe follow through some of the aspects. I'd be very happy to help. And I look forward to at least getting 10 PGFPs by the end of the year. Thank you and have a blessed evening.
Amen.
Okay. Same sentiments with Judith. Thanks a lot, Abdul. Thanks a lot, PMI Kenya chapter, and thanks for the audience for actually giving us this opportunity to talk to you. And like what Judy said, our emails are open. So sometimes you might find that I might not be able to respond that day, but I always respond to my emails. So, and I know I had promised a couple of people to assist them on one-on-one mentoring. I will try to do it this year, but last year the only thing I could do is just share resources and maybe review certain applications and guide people to pass. But I am hoping by Q2 of this year, I will be able to mentor a couple of people, maybe even if it's not one-on-one, at least try at least within after every 2 weeks, maybe we have a 1 hour session and we get you through this, because my ambition is at least to have 10 more PGMPs in Kenya by end of this year. Over to you, Abdul.
Thank you. Thank you, Edward and Judith. It was a very insightful session, and we hope our participants have taken your advice, and in the near future, they will also apply for the certification. We thank you very much, and we hope to have you soon for other sessions in PMI Kenya chapter. To you, Brenda, to close.
Thank you so much to everyone who came in to attend to this particular webinar. Myself, I'm so grateful. I think Edward, Judith, you've answered so many of my questions that I had. I've been thinking of doing this particular course, and I think now I feel a bit energized, and confident that I can actually manage to pass the exam and how to go about it. I believe it's a benefit to the rest of the team. We'll share this recording so that those who wish to go back to it and listen to it. We had over 60 registrations, so I believe also they might not have been able to join, but I believe they'll look out for the recording, and that's the purpose why we'll actually share it. So the president could not join us today. She's been in a conference in Mombasa, and but she had sent greetings, and we really appreciate you coming through for us today. And we look forward, as Abdul is saying, in future to have you come in again. I know there'll be more questions. I could tell that people really want to get into this project management, program management. And I think it's also looking at how the interest, looking at where we'll be in the next 5-10 years. It's a very good insight, and to see the interest that people have in project management. So thank you so much. I think that will be it for us. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and I hope you join our other webinar next week on Discipline Agile for those interested.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody, and bye for now.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Good evening.